Hello, and welcome to the CUP Ringside, part of the CUP Network, where you have a front row seat to all things wrestling. And welcome to Who's NXT, where we get the real entity of NXT. I'm Lewis, and I am the Lewis Regal of this. I'm still working on my intro. I'm gonna workshop it this weekend, and then I'm gonna have a proper intro next week. Very excited to talk about week two of NXT Spring Breakin. And joining me we have
We've got Donovan. I'm in the same boat. I gotta get an intro together. Ooh, excuse me.
no worries.
But yeah, spring breaking week 2.
Spring Breakin week two,
I
and
think they
go
should
ahead.
have. I think week 1 should have been week 2, and vice versa. I think week 1 was 10 times better than week 2. But we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. Before we get started, here at the Cup Network, we have many channels where you can get your daily fix of different things. So, if you're a fan of Eurovision Song Contest, we have the Cup ESC, where we're talking about all things Eurovision. Eurovision just next week, so there's a lot of content coming out of that channel. We have the Cup TV, if you're a fan of all things reality TV. They have plenty of things going on right there. I think Survivor's a hot discussion right now. I don't know a lot about Survivor, but I think that's something they're talking about. If you're a fan of drag race, we have the Cup Pod, and I believe that's all the channels that we have apart from the Cup Ringside right now. But also, here at the Cup, we have our own merch line. And if you're a fan of the Cup or want to help support us as a channel, then go and get your Cup merch. As demonstrated by Lana here, the Cup mug, we have Cup bottles, we have Cup socks. So they do ship domestically within the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And as of today, as of recording, we now do ship internationally, which means I have no excuses anymore. I need to go and get myself a cup mug. I need to go get myself some cup socks and a cup bottle. Right. Let's get started.
Let's do
with.
it.
Yeah, do it. Absolutely. Let's start with talking about not NXT itself, as in what happened on the show last night. This is the first NXT post draft,
Yeah.
and we had lost a few of our top stars here on NXT. So over on Raw, we have Kiana James going to Raw. We have Ilya Dragunov going to Raw. We have Lyra Valkyria going to Raw, and we have Dijak going to Raw. And then on SmackDown, I believe they picked up Blair Davenport as well.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think of the draft picks moving up?
I didn't expect Lyra.
No, me neither.
I didn't expect that at all. But other than that, I mean, it's time. Ilya is time.
Mm-hmm.
Carmelo is time.
Yeah, Carmelo. Oh yes, we got Carmelo's moving up as well. Yeah, Carmelo on SmackDown as well. I'm surprised that Kiana's moving up.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think over on NXT, she's not been doing. It's not that she's not been doing anything. She has been doing. It's just what she's been doing. She hasn't had a huge role in NXT TV. So I'm interested to see what plans they have for her on the main roster. I would like to think she's not going to be anything more than a mid-carder on the main roster, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have anything for her when she's over there.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan
of tag team division.
Maybe. Who do we pair her with? I'd honestly would have much rather had her on SmackDown and put her up with Tiffany. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what uh, Hunter, Triple H, and everyone on that booking team has for her. Um, Again, Ilya, much deserved, much long time coming kind of thing for Ilya. Having him in the same brand as Gunther is going to be interesting. I think there's going to be something that sparks out of that once again.
Yes,
Uh,
it's gonna be crazy.
Definitely. I mean, he is crazy. They don't call him Bad Dragon for nothing.
Yeah.
Blair, I Blair kind of shocked me at the same time. Didn't I feel like what we've seen on NXT is the closing of a chapter, especially last week in a match at Sol Ruka. It
Yeah.
felt like after that match there wasn't going to be anything for her creatively in NXT anymore that she hadn't already done. So moving her up made sense, but it also wasn't something that that was the first thing on my mind. Like she wasn't the first person that came to mind.
Yeah, definitely wasn't the first person, but
No.
once I watched last week, it's kind of like, okay, I see her. She finished her story up with Soruka, like you said. You probably gonna go ahead and go up.
Mm-hmm.
One of the two was definitely going up after that.
Yeah.
Big Blair was the more main roster ready at that point, so I understand it.
And the reason why I'm glad it's her and not Sol Ruka is I think Sol Ruka is in a perfect position for what's happening with the women's title on NXT right now. We'll talk about women's title situations, situations plural, later on in this podcast. And no, I'm a huge fan of the call-ups, and I'm excited to see what they do with them on the main roster. Right, let's get into this episode of NXT. So we start off with the new NXT champion coming out to the crowd, to like a raucous crowd. Everyone's going crazy. Whoop that trick indeed. Whoop that trick. Trick coming out. Booker T's going off. Even Trick Williams is doing the Booker T impressions now. It was so feel good. He was talking about different people that helped him get to where he was. He particularly thanked Ilya Dragunov. He said that war with Ilya pushed him to new levels. What did you make of this promo?
To me, it was a great promo. You could tell he was feeding off the energy of the crowd, and Booker especially.
Yes.
To me, this further proves that it truly is the Whoop That era. It's his show, and I'm glad to see where he takes it, where the Bookers take it. And yeah, I'm ready to see who his first feud is going to be post winning the championship.
Truly, I'm very excited to see who's next. To incorporate the name of our podcast into the show. And then we get Lash Legend come out. And this entire back and forth between Trick Williams and Lash Legend had me in stitches.
Man,
It truly had me in stitches. They have something like the chemistry with them. It's something that I wouldn't have even thought this was like something to work with prior to like a couple months ago when they started this thing. But they bounce off each other so well. And it's interesting. I think something's developing there that Metaphor as a group probably doesn't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Metaphor is going. They're not going to take too kindly to that.
Absolutely not. And oh my god, like this got so, I don't know what the word is. Like, is risque though? No. Like, you know what I mean? Like they were.
Yes,
they were
yeah.
There was little something happening. I couldn't stop watching. Like, but the timeline was going crazy. I was on Twitter. The timeline was going crazy. Like some of the lines they were saying. Um,
The
I
Cat Reese's line
Reese's
had
Cup.
me rolling. That when he said that, I had to pause and I sat there and just bust out laughing. Just
Oh my
man,
god.
that you could tell their chemistry was it clicked immediately.
I have this
And
here. So Trick said that Lash thinks that he's her little Reese's cup, and then he said that she wants to take off the gold and get straight to the chocolate on the inside.
just
and then,
oh
and
my
then
gosh.
and then Lash goes, she doesn't like Reese's, she likes Kit Kats. And then Trick goes, well, he'll break
Let me
her off.
break him off a piece. I was ooh,
I was
the
like, I was like, I guess we are out of the PG era. Fully, like,
yeah, you can definitely tell. Ain't
oh
no
my
way
god!
that would have happened about 10 years ago.
Imagine having to explain that to your anyway. Right. um, gosh. Um, and then, not to mention, Lash has an envelope. This entire time, Lash is carrying an envelope. There's no explanation for the envelope. She's just carrying an envelope during this entire thing. What is that envelope? What is in this envelope? What?
The crowd made that envelope situation so funny. They're talking about Tricks the daddy. And I'm just like, what are y'all talking about?
Oh my god!
I
We're
gotta
talking about
I wanna
2008.
exactly.
Was it
They made me
2008,
wanna
2010 WWE illegitimate son like situation? Oh no!
that crowd. I love that crowd. I love when they're in the PC. They made me want to go down there and be in that crowd. They're
Yeah,
fun. They're
really,
a great
if I
crowd.
was living in Florida, I'd be there every damn week.
Yes.
Every damn week. There's something so. I love it that when NXT goes on the road. So
Yeah.
I hope we get more NXT PLEs down the line. We're gonna get Battleground in Las Vegas at the UFC compound or whatever it is called,
Yeah,
which
the
is really
UFC
interesting.
Apex.
Apex, there we go. But I do want to see NXT on the road more often.
Yeah.
So that promo was interesting. Um, I want to see what develops out of that envelope situation. We have a promo now. Well, like not a promo, but it's like a segment, and it's Ariana Grace and Gigi Dolan, and they're at dinner, and I'm just gonna be frank. I'm personally not a fan of the Ariana Grace character, and I wasn't a fan of that segment. I thought it was very. I just couldn't take it serious. I just couldn't take it serious whatsoever. Like there was so much going on in that promo, and what it was, all it was hyping up the card, but it just made me care less for the Ariana Grace character, to be honest.
I s- I'm gonna disagree with you. I kind of like this. I like their dynamic of she being the pageant queen and her just not listening to anything that she's telling her to do, doing the complete opposite. I kind of find it funny in a sort of way,
Mm-hmm.
like she's deliberately being rebellious in all of her instructions. But yeah,
I think what it is for me is it just feels like typical. Okay, this is your first character in NXT, and I know Ariana Grace as a wrestler is as a superstar is going to develop into something different eventually, but it just feels very all right. This is what you've got. Work with it. In the same sense that when Becky Lynch came in, she was just like a leprechaun. Like, rest of the, like it feels like something that you've been given, and I will say it's definitely working for her a lot more than it did with Becky Lynch with
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss when they came in and had to do something. Um, we have a disagreement. That's the first. I'm glad we got our first disagreement on that we're starting off strong. We're gonna start. I think the other people on the other brands should disagree more often. I feel like Brooke and West do disagree a lot.
Yeah.
Right. Let's move on. So they basically just hyped up the card. They were having a drink, having some food. Ariana Grace was talking about decorum and stuff, and then Gigi drinks and then burps and stuff like that. Anyway, um, then we get little shots of Lola Vice and Shayna Baszler getting ready in the parking lot, and then Natalia and Carmen Petrovich getting ready for the underground match. That, yeah, just like, oh, this match is happening later tonight. It's actually wasn't it the main event?
Yes, yes, it
Yes.
was the main event.
Right. Well, we then come to our first match of the night, and what a match this was! Holy crap! North American Championship. We've got Obafemi defending against Ivar. I was a huge fan of this match.
Yeah, this was definitely match of the night.
I think the Ivar does not get praised enough for the work that they've put in since Eric got injured and he had to go on his own. I think having two big, I'd say
They said it.
it's very clear in a phrase, like having two big meaty men like going against each other, but it didn't feel the same as those big meaty men matches on the main roster. It felt different.
Yeah,
It felt like two big men trying to do the things that the smaller men can do.
yeah. And Ivar's a big man, but he dang sure don't move like he is. I'm a big man myself. I wish I could move like Ivar could. Doing backflips off the top rope. Man, if I could move like he could, I would try my luck. I would try my hand in professional wrestling.
Absolutely. The moonsault's interesting. I fully thought that he botched that moonsault and that he landed on Oba's neck. Thankfully, he didn't. But I thought that I thought he landed like right on his neck and stuff. But oh my god, that moonsault was beautiful. Um, yeah, Ivar is moving crazy for someone the size he is. Obafemi, we saw it on Stand and Deliver. He is incredibly talented. I think there was that one spot where they had two of them stacked up, and then he was able to take him down. Um, Incredible match. Obviously, I didn't see any changes in the way that I didn't think Obafemi was losing the belt at all. I think we're still very young in the Obafemi feud. Um, are you there, Donovan? Well, damn.
Can you hear me?
What was that? I can hear you. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Great. Uh,
Screen
I
is frozen, but
Your screen is frozen. I'm gonna pause. Right. So we're back. Where are we? Obafemi and Ivar.
yeah,
Incredible match. The things they can do for people their size is incredible. They're moving, they're moving crazy. Like what I'm saying is like Ivar hitting that moonsault, Obafemi
yeah,
being able to stack, especially in the Stand and Deliver match, in the North American Championship match at Stand and Deliver, we got to see Oba's power on display.
yeah,
So loved that incredible match. I didn't see Obafemi losing.
yeah. No way. With Ivar still being on the main roster, not a chance.
No, yeah. But the most interesting thing happened at the end of this match because my boy Wesley is back.
Wesley is back.
I'm surprised he's coming out um, with Obafemi as his target. That shocked me. I honestly have him straight into the trick picture. But that's my personal opinion. I don't know.
I get it. I mean, especially the way that the commentators were hyping him up as arguably the best North American champion ever. Of course, he's coming back for, as they say, his belt. It's his belt. He made it. He gave it the prestige, in so to speak. So I understand him going for his belt and Obafemi as a result. I was expecting Javon Evans to eventually challenge Obafemi for the North American title. Maybe that's just me wanting him to have a belt because I like him so much. But
it's interesting.
I'm not mad at it at all.
I'm not mad at it. Javon, I mean, you bringing up Javon is interesting. I wouldn't be mad if we got to see West versus Javon, and in like a number one contender situation. Either way, I don't know if Oba loses to either. I mean, maybe.
I think he can hold that belt. Yeah, he's so OP. I think he's holding that belt for a while.
Yeah. But damn, I love what's happening in the North American picture right now.
Yeah. The crowd pop for him, huge.
The way he just leapt onto the stairs, I was like, oh, he's so healed. He is so ready. If he's able to do that he's so good. I was gonna say, this man had about a year. He was meant to be sidelined for around a year. He's back within 5 months.
Yeah.
So that's impressive.
The aura of the top stars at NXT right now is crazy.
Incredible.
Wesley is back. Obafemi.
Ilya
Dragunov before he got drafted.
Absolutely. We're cooking over here on the Black and Gold brand. And that's why we're the A show. Right.
Definitely.
So we're moving on.
Main roster.
Absolutely.
This is the new main roster.
This is the main roster. Right. We move on to I think we got Thea Hale and JC Jane. Before the match, Thea's very hyped to kick JC's ass. And Fallon said she won't be out there after last week happened with Jada, and she needs to mind her own business, especially with not being drafted. And then Thea told Fallon not to let Jada get in her head and convinced everyone to come with her. So we get the whole of the Chase U coming through the audience.
Yeah.
In U signs. And then the match itself,
solid.
It was aight. It was solid. Didn't have much going for it. I wasn't expecting JC to lose kind of clean.
Yeah.
It was a kind of clean win. There was a bit of things that happened. I mean, Jasmine Nix took out Fallon Henley, which distracted JC. Something happened. I don't know. I feel like Fallon took the bullet so that JC got distracted, and then Thea took the win. Which, okay, interesting. But what made it even more interesting is we got Fallon Henley turning on Thea. I was slightly surprised that was the direction. I don't know.
It didn't come as a shock to me, not because I expected it to happen or anything like that, but before sat down and watched NXT on Twitter, I saw it happen, and I was like, "Oh, Fallon turned on her." Like, okay, sure. And then I sat. Then when I finally sat down and watched it, I was like, "Oh." And I guess let's see where the story goes from here. But I
Yeah,
don't want to say they're just doing stuff just for the sake of doing it, but that's kind of what it felt like to a degree.
I think Fallon needs it. I
Yeah,
just feel like on the WWE as a product as a whole, we're seeing a lot of heel turns in the space of 2 weeks, and
yeah,
that's why I'm getting a bit like, why are we doing so many heel turns? And that's not just on NXT, that's on Raw, that's on SmackDown. A lot of people are turning heel in the space of the last 2 weeks, and I feel like we're overdoing it. But
yeah.
I guess each product is booked differently, so we'll see. I must point out, JC got pretty bloodied from this match. She comes out of the match and with
Yeah.
messed up face and all. She tweeted a picture of the John Cena photo where Cena's like nose is
Yeah.
in that once. Yeah. So I guess I will never say a match is good because someone had their face messed up, but um, it makes it look more legitimate, and I feel like that is a needed aspect
Yeah.
in a wrestling match. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing much else I can say on this match, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we pretty much said what we needed to say. It's a solid match. We got the heel
it's,
turn,
yeah,
and
um,
I guess
yeah,
Thea, she got what she be careful what
needed.
you wish for
Yeah,
because she
exactly.
asked Fallon to come out there and then got turned on.
So what I'm interested in seeing is JC James still going to continue into this Chase Hughes situation, or are we going to have JC James do something different now?
Yeah.
That's what I'm interested in seeing. Right, next match, and I have a lot of opinions on this next match. We have the debut on NXT for Tyson DuPont and Tyreek Igwe against the OC, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. And they lose
It,
against the OC.
I mean, like, I don't understand. You do this whole vignette of their background coming from knowing each other in college, being on the same track team, and you do this whole video, and like you said, they lose to the OC, who's not even
I don't know. Like, they're
like what
doing.
has the OC been doing to get a win right now
Right.
against?
I mean, I guess you need to make them look legitimate because they're the OC. They've won this, that, the other. They're huge. I I don't like burying the debutants that you've been hyping up in promo packages for the last 2 weeks. I think this kills their momentum. This kills their momentum humongously by having them lose on their debut, no less to the OC. Who as soon as I saw the OC were in the match, I was like, oh, are we really having the OC lose to the debutants? Like, I was like, I didn't, I didn't like it either way. I didn't like the OC losing, uh, clean. I didn't like the OC being in this match. Period. But also I didn't like what we decided to do, which was have the debutants lose. I'd much rather have the debutants uh, Tyson and
Tyreek.
Tyreek go against like level up talent, like lesser known people that like like enhancement talent. like,
I mean, even if you want to have them the debut match, I think having the OC be in the match is fine. It gives a level of legitimacy to the match. It's like, okay, these are established stars who, as a tag team, have been good in WWE, been good in other promotions. I just don't agree with the decision to have
No.
Titus and Tyreek lose at all.
Hmm.
They should have got the win.
They should have got the win, but
But I will say, even in the loss, they showed they did get let them show their arsenal a little bit, and I like that. They got a lot of offense in on the OC, but just wrong result.
I think I wouldn't have minded if it had more time to it. Like
Yeah,
if it had more time to it and it looked like legitimate and it gave both teams enough playroom to show out, I wouldn't have minded too much. But it was way too short to actually mean anything. And handing Tyson and Tyreek their loss on their debut after you've been hyping them up the way that you've done,
just
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Tyreek and Tyson
for a
again
while. For
for
a
a
while.
while. And I hate that. Like, what was the point for the last few weeks of building him up if if that's what we're doing?
Yeah, that's mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling, so fucking weird. Moving on. um, Ava is now on the phone with Adam Pearce, and she says she has a big announcement. She comes to the ring. Um, we have a little montage of the NXT call-ups from the draft. We
Mhm.
see different people who are NXT producers, so Johnny Knox, Alex Winkler, and Robbie Brookside talking about seeing the talent getting called up and how it makes way for new talent. Brookside that said that there's a future of WWE, that the future of WWE has never been better. And then finally we get Ava in the ring and says, as a general manager, nothing makes her prouder than seeing NXT stars showcase their talent on Raw, SmackDown, blah 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 blah. They'll be missed, but NXT needs to move forward, and it's time to crown the first ever Women's North American Champion at NXT Battleground. And finally, we get to find out something about it. And what she says is, we're going to crown the new Women's North American Champion in the way that we crowned the Men's North American Champion in a ladder match. And I am so glad. I am so glad we get to see the women show out in a ladder match.
I love ladder matches. I love
There's
ladder matches.
so much wiggle room in a ladder match. For this match could be an absolute spot fest, and I'll be so damn
Yes.
happy. I'd be so damn happy. It's about time we get the mid card women to show out, and yeah, this is absolutely the right match for it. I'm glad we're not doing a tournament of any kind. I feel like
Yeah.
the tournament is so overdone nowadays.
I'm interested to see what the combine looks like. Is it going to be like other like sports combines? Are they going? Because is it that's
Yeah.
watching the NFL combine or the NBA draft combine, and me being a sports fan, I knowing what that's like. I wonder how do you incorporate the combine into WWE? So I'm interested to see where they go with that. But
Yeah.
I love the ladder match, and we got a few names that's going to be in the combine.
Mm-hmm. We do.
I'm happy to hear some of these names.
So we have Jada Parker comes out and stakes her claim for it. Sol Ruka came out. Ariana Grace came out. And then, surprise, surprise, Meechin comes out and stakes a claim for the title, which I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. We didn't. I don't think we went in for. Did we go further in the draft? I feel like we maybe went in for third in the draft. I'm not sure, but yeah, Meechin definitely is a welcome name in NXT.
Yes.
I feel like what she's doing, and she's not doing much of anything on the main roster, so this will definitely help her. I'm a big fan of all these. I mean, as established, I'm not a fan of Ariana Grace's character, but I'm a fan of her getting an opportunity. I'm a fan of all four of these getting an opportunity. Sol Ruka is interesting. I thought Sol Ruka was a good person for Roxanne right now, but I'm not mad at Sol Ruka going for the North American Championship.
Yes. Jada Parker, Meechin, Soruka. You've got some heavy hitters in this draft combine for the NXT Women's North American. And I hope, well, I think Jada Parker should be the first champion. That's me personally. I think either her or Meechin. I would say Jada Parker though.
I have to agree. I wouldn't be mind seeing Sol win it. I think it does a lot more for Jada.
Yeah.
I think Jada is someone who's shown out in so little time,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Soruka we've had a lot more time to get to know her, and I feel like again, again, like I said, I think Soruka is much more fitted for the main title against Roxanne. Personally, I think Jada would do incredible stuff with the North American Championship, though.
Yes.
Right. So right after this segment, we have the Street Profits here, and they meet with Axiom and Nathan Fraser. Axiom said they need to be focused. Dawkins said they've been fighting AOP for a while, so basically hyping them up for the AOP match because they have that experience. We're always welcoming Street Profits appearance here on NXT.
Those my guys.
we do love the Street Profits over here. They've been doing a lot of this stuff on NXT where they have people from the main roster coming back down to give words of advice, words of wisdom. And I feel like that made sense, having them be the ones to hype them up for the AOP match, having just come off the match with them at Mania.
Montez Ford, he knows how to get a room hype. I'll say that. The way he just walked in and turned them up in the locker room, that's the type of hype man I want to go in the war with.
Right. So now we have the Sean Spears Ridge Holland match. I have a qualm about this story, and it's just that I do think that Ridge needs this kind of energy, this kind of character, this kind of build. I feel like what happened with him on the main card, on the main roster, got stale. So I'm a fan of what they're doing with him on NXT. I still think Sean Spears has not had a favorable run since coming back.
Yeah, I don't. To me, this story is not interesting at all. I like Ridge Holland. Sean Spears, like, I guess I'm indifferent about. That's partially due to, like you said, he hasn't been booked properly. He hasn't been given an interesting storyline. And to me, this storyline just isn't interesting. So when that match came on, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Not too much I can say about this match.
There's not much to say about it. Ridge got over. Ridge gets the win.
Oh.
Like, I just feel like every time we have Spears in the position, his momentum just gets killed. It happened with, was it Dijak? I can't remember.
I think so.
I don't know. They need to take him in a different direction, I think. I love that he's doing the chairman stuff that he was doing on AEW. I think he's fine doing that. But we need added layers to that. Yeah, moving on. It was a good match.
Yeah. Solid match.
I'm interested to see what happens with Rich. Like, I think this, like, I like what they've done in that he's kind of been fighting his own demons, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's been fighting with himself a lot of this, and I feel like that's a good direction to go from. That's a good angle to come from if we're booking him moving forward. Roxanne is backstage with Ava. Roxanne Perez is not happy. She's not happy because she didn't get drafted. And then Ava was like, well, champions were protected, so you were not moving anywhere. And she was like, telling Ava not to play stupid. And Ava says she wants to talk about her next opponent. Roxanne wasn't having it and leaves. Ava opened the GM door to someone else and said, we'll talk later. And we were like, "Oh, okay. Who is this person that she's talking to?" We'll find out later on in the episode, of course. And then we have Briggs coming out. Josh Briggs walking up to Ivar, says he's the only man who could beat him, but thanks for softening it. Like Ivar was the only man who could beat Oba, but thanks for softening him up. And then Ivar said he's not done. And then Wesley walks up to them and says they both had good matches, but he's the one that's going for the title. And then Briggs is like, well, this isn't 5 months ago, so pack your bags and leave again, or something like that. And then Wesley was saying that was disrespectful, and the match is set up between him and Briggs. Ivar also said he's not done with Oberfemi. So I do like Josh Briggs now for a good amount of time since they split up from that tag team. I wasn't sure about it, but now I'm a fan of where Josh Briggs is at right now.
Yeah. I mean, Josh Briggs, he's cool. I guess it's because I wasn't too tapped into NXT until just recently.
Yeah.
I guess I don't have the connection to some of these characters that I would if I have been watching for a long time. But
That's fair.
Josh Briggs is cool.
Josh Briggs is cool.
Ivar not being done with Obafemi is kind of strange to me. Because it's like you're going to keep coming back down to NXT to fight Obafemi. Why didn't you just... What's the point of you being drafted to stay on the main roster if all you have to do is keep coming down and fighting Obafemi? You could have just came down to NXT.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wouldn't mind him going back to the main roster. I feel like he's done incredible stuff here on NXT, but I always feel like there's no need to rinse and repeat stuff that we've seen.
Yeah.
And play out already. And I feel like he can do incredible stuff on the main roster. I wouldn't mind him having a mid-card title picture. Not that I necessarily see him winning the belt. I wouldn't mind him winning the belt, but I would like to see him work with the people who have the mid-card title roster. People like, I was going to say Logan Paul. I mean, maybe Logan Paul. Who's the Intercontinental against Sami?
Sami Zayn.
I wouldn't mind him going up against Sami.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on. We have the Final Testament coming out, getting ready. We have the family, as in the D'Angelo family. Tony D'Angelo says he beat Noam Dar in the ring, and he tells Luca, his other family member, to set up a Heritage Cup match, which we agreed that last week. We said this is where it's leading to, this Heritage Cup match. Rizzo, she says that she'll set up a spot at the spa for the cup. At the spa for the cup. I'm just reading this now from I can't remember this promo word for word, but basically they were saying, okay, we're getting ready for a Heritage Cup match, and we said this was happening. I
Yeah.
really hope that we get the Heritage Cup taken off the No Catch Quarter Crew. I think it's time that it gets
Yeah.
a new.
And this another thing that I guess I'm out the loop. But what is the Heritage Cup like supposed to like? What does it do?
It's just really all it is. It's a different championship, just not about. It's just a trophy. It's weird. It comes from NXT. So it started in NXT UK, and um, it's defended in Heritage Cup rules matches, which is similar to British round matches in that it's like 3 minute. And I'm not a fan of this match concept. It's like 3 minutes and then uh, bow, and it's similar to boxing in that it's
Uh
like
huh.
3 minutes the bow, and then you go to the breaks, and then you wrestle again 3 minutes bow, and then like there's like I can't remember how many rounds there are. I think there's 3 rounds. If you get a pin in that time, you win the bout. But if you don't get the pin, then it goes to like a judge's whatever the fuck, something like that. I'm not a fan of that concept, but I'm a fan of having a cup instead of a championship belt. Um, it's whatever. Um,
Yeah. Sounds like
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing the Heritage Cup taken off TV after this year. I think the concept is run its course, but I do think we could do with a different mid card championship of some sort.
yeah.
Right, we got the NXT Tag Team Championship match now between Axiom, Nathan Fraser, and the AOP, the Authors of Pain. I'll be completely honest, Donovan. I was not paying attention to this. So I don't know if you watched it, if you have any commentary on it.
Yeah, it was a solid match. I mean, it's before the bell was rung. You had Axiom and Fraser try to catch ARP off guard and try to get the jump on them, and then once the bell rung, Authors of Pain really just slowed the pace of the match down
Mm.
and wore on them for a minute. The end of the match, I, I'm I'm not the biggest fan of always having outside interference be the cause of a match. It seems like that happened. It's happening way more than it needs to as of recently on NXT because of course, we had the Final Testament at ringside, so they tried to get involved, and then I can't remember who came out for Axiom and Fraser to help even the odds.
Let me read. Um, no Catch Republic. That's what it says here.
So
So Tyler Bate Pete Dunne.
so yeah, they came out help even the odds, and then Axiom and Fraser get the win. What like this is another title match where part of the challengers for the champions aren't even on NXT roster. They're on the main rosters. So I don't understand why we keep doing this because it's not believable that they're gonna win the title if they're not even on NXT on a weekly basis. So it was a good match though, but I just don't understand why we keep having these matches with challengers who's not on NXT.
All right. Let's just move on because there's not enough I can add to what you've said. Um, so now we have Thea Hale in the medical room. That's why people are doing this to her constantly. always, it's always happening to her.
Always happening to her.
Always. And then we have Ridge Holland coming through. Walks up to them asking if she's okay. Andre Chase says she will be. Ridge Holland says that she'll learn you can't trust anyone. And then Ridge said he's asked if he's okay. Ridge says he's all right. He's just trying to get those wins up. And then Andre Chase says if he needs anything, they've got him. That's interesting. I think that will be interesting to see what happens with Ridge and the Chase U situation. I feel like Ridge. Oh, go ahead.
At this point, it's like anything that can give Ridge Holland's character some added story to it. It's a plus for me. I'm interested to see where it goes.
I feel like it's interesting the play on the you'll learn in NXT you can't trust anyone.
Yeah.
I think Ridge is trying to earn their trust, but they are going to learn very quickly. You should not trust Ridge Holland. Ridge Holland is not the one to be trusting. Because he's got a bit of a... I think his character's got a slight sense of bipolarity.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I like about Ridge Holland right now. Is he's got his own demons, his own situation that he's dealing with, but in turn, in having that, he's also hurting people around him.
Yeah,
and I feel like if Chase U get too close to him, they're gonna learn the hard way that they shouldn't have done that. Right, Metaphor. Yep, here we go. So Metaphor are leaving, and then Lash is asked about what she meant by her comments. Noam said Lash tells no lies, and also he invites Trick Williams to Supernova Sessions, which we haven't seen at Supernova Sessions in a while. His little talk show on NXT. He started doing Supernova Sessions over on NXT UK. That's how long Supernova Sessions has been a thing. So I'm glad we're getting other Supernova Sessions. It's been a while. They leave, and then Jakara walks out with Fallon Henley, asking what her attack on Thea was about. Fallon doesn't want to talk about that, and she just knows that she has to put herself first from here. That's what she said. I'm interested to see what Fallon does. I think it was needed, but I'm just a bit like we've seen too many heel turns in a short amount of time.
I'm interested to see the Trick go on. I can't remember what you just said.
Supernova Sessions, I think they call it. Yeah.
Because, like we said at the beginning of the show, something just feels like Metaphor isn't going to be vibing with Trick like that. So I want to see what that interaction is like. But
I don't think they're going to be vibing with Trick, but I do think maybe Lash has a little something for him.
Exactly.
And I've been very happy seeing that side of the story play out. I think it's going to brew into something huge, and I think that's going to be what splits Metaphor up. But we'll see. So now we come to our main event. The ring's getting set for the NXT Underground. We have Lola and Shayna backstage. We have Natalia and Carmen. Before we get to the match, we have Malik Blade, which I was not expecting to see Malik Blade on this episode of NXT. Malik Blade, he's nervous, and then Edris Enofe comes out, and then he's relieved because he thought that Edris would have bad luck from breaking his mirror. Edris said it was plastic, and then Malik says there's a tale as old as time that breaking a mirror ends you. What the fuck are they doing? What is this?
It seems like they almost want to try to get R-Truth S pop relief, comedy
Maybe.
relief type of thing, but it's not working because they don't have the charisma as R-Truth. I don't know what is going on with this. I Then they bring the black cats into the
Black
screen. I'm like,
cats. I'm like, what the fuck? What? I love NXT, but some of the stuff that's going
some of
on,
the
I'm
stuff
like,
is just wacky.
wacky. Yeah. Right. And then finally, we have the NXT Underground match. Natalia versus Lola Vice. I'll be honest, I did not care for this match all that much. And I think what it is for me is WWE have tried too often to incorporate an MMA feel
Yeah,
in a lot of different ways, and it's never landed for me. Never.
like
So,
why are we taking the ring post, taking the ropes off the ring? It's still a wrestling match.
yeah.
Why are we destroying the ring? Like even MMA matches are in a ring or in a cage. That
Right.
that didn't make sense to me. The ending of the match didn't make sense to me. To You're about to win the match and you're worried about Shayna, and then the way she got knocked out, it's like you could tell like they're trying. You can't fake MMA. That's a
No.
real combat sport. Like people get hurt, people die from that sport. And trying to
Mhm.
see WWE like, oh, we're doing MMA, but it's still sports entertainment. It's WWE at the end of the day. It's like it doesn't work. So I'm with you. I didn't care for this match.
Yeah, I really didn't care for this match. I figured that Lola was going to get the win.
I like Lola
Mhm.
Vice, but it's like, can we get her doing something that I'm interested in?
Absolutely.
This ain't
Th-
this ain't
Yeah,
working.
this ain't working. Um, I think I liked that. Okay, what I like about the Shayna thing is it's not necessarily that she cared more for Shayna. It's just that she cared in protecting Carmen,
Yeah,
and I can understand it from that standpoint. But yeah, I didn't care for this match. It was. We need to stop doing the underground matches.
stop trying to
Whatever.
make MMA matches in WWE altogether. It didn't work with
Exactly.
Shayna and Ronda. It didn't work here.
Yeah, just stop. Right. So, that's pretty much it for this episode of NXT, but we do have matches set up for next week. Obviously, we have Wesley versus Josh Briggs happening. I figure that Wesley's going to go over. He's only just came back, so it makes
Yeah,
sense, but this is a good match for him to come back to. We have Supernova sessions with Trick Williams, so that's going to be interesting. And then we have the start of the NXT Women Combine. So I'm excited to see what happens with the North American Championship situation. I want to see who goes into that ladder match. There's going to be 6 of them, I believe, in the ladder match. I might be wrong.
I can't remember.
I think there's going to be 6, but because they're basing it on the men's match, and the men's match had 6 when they started out the North American Championship. Right, that's it for this episode of NXT, of Who's NXT. Who's next, rather. Before you go, make sure you hit the subscribe and the like icon. Let us know in the comments what you thought of this episode of NXT, what you're liking about the NXT product right now, who you think deserves more TV time, who do you think deserves less TV time. Let us know down below. Don't forget to subscribe to our other channels if you're a fan of different content. We have the Cup ESC for Eurovision, Cup TV for reality TV, and the Cup Pod for drag race and drag content in general. Over here on the ringside, we have backlash predictions went up before this or before this video or after this video. I'm not too sure, but it will be in the space of time around this video. After, before this video. And also, we have then the SmackDown coming up this Saturday with Lana and Amy. We have the Raw tape with Brooke and Wes on Tuesdays. I know that I'm not going to be here next week, so we'll see who's going to present the Who's Next content next week. For now,
Get your merch. Lana G Creations.
LanaGCreations.it.com. Look at Donovan promoting
Make
the
sure you
merch.
get your cup pod merch, your cups, your socks, your water bottles.
Absolutely.
You
Yes.
see our social media links down below. If you
Yes,
want to
go.
give us a follow, go follow. We'll greatly appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that was NXT for Spring Breakin.
See you next week.
We'll see you next week.